Fertilizer is a substance that is applied to the soil or plant tissues to supply nutrients. It is an important component in agriculture that every farmer desires to use for a bumper harvest. Bearing in mind the importance of this substance and challenges farmers go through to access it, Governor Samuel Otom flagged off the distribution of fertilizers in Benue State recently at subsidized prices. How is the distribution process to ensure that core farmers are not shortchanged? How affordable are these varieties of fertilizers? How knowledgeable are farmers on the right time for the application of fertilizers on their various crops for maximum results? These and more will be our focus on Panorama today. Coming to you from Makurdi Network Center. But first, the news of the day. I am Susan Omale, and you're welcome. In the midst of adversity, leaders must and are expected to remain calm so that the people being led will follow in their footsteps. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo stated this at the 25th anniversary conference of the Redeemers International Leadership Academy, themed Winning in Adversity, organized by the Redeemed Christian Church of God. Vice President Osinbajo stated that it is in times of adversity, difficulty, or hardship that leaders are most relevant and most needed. In the virtual keynote address at the conference, the Vice President stressed the need for leaders to remain unruffled because in adversity, especially where the future looks bleak, people want to give up, retreat, go back, and they certainly do not want to go forward. The Vice President then encouraged leaders to act in faith and not in fear when they are faced with crisis, especially existential crisis. It will no longer be business as usual for broadcast organizations that allow their platforms to be used for incitement or anything that negates national unity. Director General of the Commission, Balarabe Shehu Ilela, stated this when he met with selected media chief executives in Abuja. Adebola Brookslyn Sunday reports.
Fake news, hate speech, and other negative messages ride on the wings of the media to reach their target audience to achieve their aims towards stemming the ties that threatens the nation's unity. The National Broadcasting Commission, NBC, is engaging media chief executives.
Because we have a red line, and that red line is national unity. Whatever crosses that boundary, then it's not acceptable. It's not going to be accepted by the Commission.
For the sake of emphasis, the broadcast code was again expanded.
And it's not going to tolerate any station that allows others to use it as a platform for creating disharmony. Any station that violates the code of NBC will definitely be penalized.
NBC is the body that regulates broadcast organizations in Nigeria. Adebola Brookslyn Sunday, NTA News.
The vaccine offers hope for a safe country free of coronavirus. I urge all state governments, traditional and religious leaders to take the lead in the mobilization effort within their environment and spheres of influence. I similarly urge all eligible Nigerians to present themselves and be vaccinated in accordance with the order of priority already mapped out at the various authorized designated centers only.
We sincerely apologize. We can no longer continue with our studio in Makudi. They seem to be having a little technical challenge. To bear with us. I am Elizabeth Omori. ActionAid Nigeria supports the reluctance of Nigeria to sign onto the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, a global tax reform deal. The deal states that if a company has a global turnover of more than 20 billion euros and a profit margin of more than 10%, then 20 to 30% of the profit in excess of 10% of revenue will be allocated to market jurisdiction using a revenue-based allocation key. The tax deal also set a global minimum tax rate of at least 15%, if only applied to companies with a global turnover of more than 75 million euros. ActionAid Nigeria is displeased with the negotiation carried out by rich countries for their benefit. The deal calls for all countries to remove their unilateral measures to tax the digital economy, such as digital service taxes, and replace them with the new rules laid out. ActionAid Nigeria agrees with the concerns expressed by the African Tax Administration Reform, who immediately after the publication of the new deal stated that political pressure should not be brought on countries to apply these rules. ActionAid Nigeria recognizes and welcomes progressive moves by the federal government of Nigeria. The federal government says it will take possession of all antiquities stolen from Nigeria as soon as they are returned in line with extant laws. Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed stated this at a media briefing in Lagos. Anthony Forson reports.
Let me state clearly here that in line with international best practices and the operative conventions and laws, the return of the artifacts is being negotiated bilaterally between the national governments of Nigeria and Germany.
The Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed stating categorically the position of relevant international conventions as it treats heritage properties belonging to the nation of origin. This clarification by the minister is coming on the heels of the negotiation for the return over 1,100 Benin bronzes stolen from Benin during the colonial rule that are today adorning museums in Germany.
Nigeria is the entity recognized by international law as the authority in control of antiquities originating from Nigeria. The relevant international conventions treat heritage properties as properties belonging to the nation and not to individuals or subnational groups.
Lai Mohammed said while in Berlin, he commended the German government for taking the lead in global efforts to repatriate all artifacts that were looted from Nigeria and, indeed, Africa.
That is why the Ministry of Information and Culture and the National Commission for Museums and Monuments have always involved both the Edo State government and the Royal Benin Palace in discussions and negotiations that have now resulted in the impending return of these antiquities. Please note that we are not just involved in the repatriation of Benin artifacts, we are also working on repatriating Ife bronzes and terracotta, Nok terracotta, or terracotta, the arts of the Benue River Valley, the Igbo Uku, the arts of Bida, the art of Igala, Jukum, etc.
In Lagos, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
Kano State Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje has enjoined Nigerians to support President Muhammadu Buhari's quest in addressing socio-economic and development challenges bedeviling the country. He was speaking at the Northwest Zonal Town Hall meeting for the validation of the African Peer Review Mechanism Country Self-Assessment Report held in Kano. Abdullahi Mustafa reports.
The meeting brought together stakeholders from the academia, technocrats, security experts, economists, traditional and religious leaders from the Northwest geopolitical zone. It is to examine and validate country's self-assessment report as part of the ongoing second African peer review mechanism flagged off by President Muhammadu Buhari in June this year.
The specific objectives are to institutionalize and reinvigorate the APRM process in the country.
Because it will show the progress the country has made from the base baseline of 2008 to other years.
Governor Abdullah Umar Ganduje, who acknowledged the commitment of the president towards addressing the nation's development challenges, urged Nigerians to support him in this direction.
Signifies, Mr. President, share commitment in not only implementation of national priority development programs and the projects, but those of the African continent as a whole.
Issues considered at the meeting include economy, good governance, democracy, and political governance. Emir of Kano Amina Ado Bayero urged stakeholders to consider the implications of COVID-19 pandemic on socio-economic development of the country in their recommendations. In Kano, Abdullahi Mustafa, NTA News.
The House of Representatives is advocating the review of the law establishing the Nigerian Broadcasting Commission. The Commission, in addition to granting license and regulating broadcast, should also have powers to moderate in protecting subscribers. This followed part of the adopted recommendations of the House Header Committee that investigated the non-implementation of the pay-as-you-go and increment in tariff by digital broadcast service providers. The House also urged that obstacles that make the use of NatComSat less attractive should be removed, as utilization of satellite is key to resolving the issue of high tariff. Now to COVID-19 management. The new COVID-19 Delta variant is posing fresh challenges to the management of the virus in most countries, including Nigeria. The situation society watchers and other residents in PortHarcourt say may get worse if urgent steps are not taken to reinforce compliance with safety protocols. Joy Uzo reports.
At the University of PortHarcourt, the hand-washing basins were dry, indicating irregular usage. The situation was the same in some other public and private organizations, while a few persons, particularly the elderly, were seen wearing the face mask. Most of the youths and students were without face mask.
I'll try more. I have a nose mask in my bag. I have a sanitizer here, but it's just putting it on and using it always. That's the thing.
But one of the reasons why people are relaxed is the fact that maybe I think there is a vaccine now which could help.
The situation was, however, different at the PortHarcourt International Airport. Most passengers, especially at the domestic wing, were made to observe the COVID-19 guidelines.
We have a stringent measure, international and domestic, stringent. At international terminal, we have the thermal camera. We don't have it in domestic. We only use the infrared thermometer.
Although the international wing of the airport has not been operational due to the dusk to dawn curfew imposed to check security infractions in Rivers State, it is expected that strict enforcement of safety protocols will apply when operations resume in the first week of August. Nightlife in PortHarcourt is gradually picking up with the lift of the curfew, but with the advent of the COVID-19 Delta variant, the need for intensive awareness by necessary agencies become imperative in PortHarcourt. Joy Uzo, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Presidential Steering Committee on COVID-19 has put 6 states and the Federal Capital Territory on red alert following the confirmation of the Delta variant of COVID-19 and the rising number of infections and hospitalization in the country. The states are Lagos, Oyo, Rivers, Kaduna, Kano, Plateau, and the FCT. Chairman of the Presidential Steering Committee on COVID-19 and Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, in a statement warns that all states of the Federation should heighten their preparedness and continue to enforce all protocols in place, given the ease of spread of the Delta variant. To minimize the risk of importation of variants of concern into the country, the PSC has also ordered increased surveillance at all points of entry into the country as part of preventive measures against a third wave of the COVID-19 pandemic. This includes enforcing quarantine protocols and sustaining the current restrictive measures against travelers from India, Brazil, Turkey, and South Africa. On the forthcoming Eid al-Kabir celebration, the PSC urged all state governments and religious leaders to decentralize Eid prayers to neighborhood Friday prayer mosque, which must be indoors, suspend all Durbar activities, and observe all COVID-19 protocols, especially for indoor gatherings. Still talking health, a suspected outbreak of cholera has claimed 18 lives within 24 hours at a livestock market popularly known as New Artisan in Enugu. Yakuta Steel reports that medical experts at the State Ministry of Health have been kept on their toes providing medical assistance to abate the pandemic.
Arriving at the market at the time of filing this report, business activities were going on in spite of the outbreak. Although the leadership of the market took to their heels on citing NTA camera, other traders confirmed the incident.
Once they start purging and bombing before you know, someone is dead. Yesterday, we buried like, let me say, 8 to 9 people. Today now we have like 5 dead bodies. We bury in the morning. Presently now we have 4 dead bodies now.
The outbreak is not from here. I told you it's a strangers came into pass. Okay. Not that they are here.
The Enugu State Emergency Response Team of the State Ministry of Health, on hearing the incident, held emergency meeting to fine-tune the response and had since swung into action and have moved those who show symptoms to the State Teaching Hospital where they are receiving treatment.
It is cholera that is the cause. We are on it. We have activated the EOC. All the relevant groups, we have identified the pillars that will work, the stakeholders, resource needs, and so on. We are putting it all together. And as you can clearly see, some people have already started responding, and then we have received from the Medicines Sans Frontiers some initial supplies that will be used in the management of these cases where we are.
Meanwhile, experts have advocated the need for personal and environmental hygiene so as to prevent food contamination. In Enugu, Yakuta Steel, NTA News.
And in other news, Lagos residents are beginning to heave a sigh of relief Friday after Friday downpour and flash floods that left many stranded in different parts of the metropolis. Diana Ajele, who went round some parts of the city, reports that the floodwaters have drained off and gridlocks gone in some areas.
So far, the clouds have taken a break. The flood water arising from the Friday 16th of July downpour may have disappeared in some parts of the metropolis, like the popular Ajolo-Deku Junction and Marina in Lagos Island, among other areas. Some residents of Lawansi in Tulere, a flood-prone neighborhood on the mainland, are yet to get over the aftermath of the flood due to the damages they suffered.
Everywhere, even in my shop here, water was there. And nobody can enter and come and eat. I have to lock the place and go.
Cecilia Augustine, a petty trader, shares her experience.
Even my shop, enter. This one have to run out. Parking load to go.
Cecilia is not alone in the ugly tale, as Ikechukwu Nze, a technician, and other small business owners say their endeavors were crippled by the rainfall and flooding.
Some fall inside gutter where we said they lost their bag, they lost their shoes.
All the school children coming back from school, they can't find anywhere to put leg.
Residents of locations prone to flooding have also been advised to temporarily relocate during the rainy season to prevent loss of lives and property that could arise from effects of flash floods. In Lagos, Diana Ajale, NTA News.
99 youth from 18 states are now equipped with skills in metal works, courtesy of the Federal Government Skills Development Fund, domiciled in the Ministry of Mines and Steel Development. Mia Ogidi was at the Metallurgical Training Center at Yakuta, Kogi State, and now reports.
Within the Yakuta Steel complex quietly lies the Metallurgical Training Center, offering enviable manpower skills. 99 youths, drawn from 18 states, 3 weeks of intensive handwork in metal machinery, welding and fabrication, as well foundry and pattern making technology. Skills acquired, spare parts given to take off in their own workshops.
I sincerely hope that you will maximize the benefits this opportunity offered, as government is working towards reviving the operationalization of our Yakuta Steel complex, you may become one of the main operators here.
Variety of products on display, telling the ingenuity of the participants in 21 days.
I have my starter packs with me. I'll be going home with it, and then also the physical cash.
The excited youths appreciate Mr. President and Minister of State Mines and Steel Development, Uchechukwu Oga, with awards manufactured by them.
We appreciate it and let it not stop with us. We want continuity.
Subsequently, those kind of training again, selection will be spread to the remaining other states that did not produce candidates for now.
Appeal already granted. Next set expected soon. Mie Ogede, NTA News.
Nigerian youth have been told not to be used as agents of destabilization, but channel their energy towards productive ventures. This was at a lecture by a civil society in Jos on the role of youth in maintaining law and order in Nigeria. Bilkisu Nuhu has details.
Vices such as armed robbery, cultism, kidnapping and other forms of criminality have bedeviled the society. To change this narrative, youth representatives from the north-central zone of the country converge on Jos to address the menace.
This time around, we are looking for the security angle.
Director General, Nigerian Television Authority, Malam Yakubu Ibn Muhammad, and Director General, National Information Technology Development Agency, NIDDA, Kasifu Inuwa, both represented challenge youths to key into government programs that will empower them.
I've attended about 3-4 events in the last 2 months. We were trying to promote peace, to develop and empower youth. And all these programs were organized and championed by youth themselves, which is saying that the youth are waking up to realize that it is time they take their destinies in their hands.
Our most important for our discussion today, youth can be a great vehicle this building has been given us.
Key players including security agencies and leaders of youth organizations who spoke on peaceful coexistence, importance of ICT and education, national development, drug abuse, called on participants to be law-abiding and be committed to the success of the Nigerian project. In Jos, Bilkisu Nuhu, NTA News.
And for some sporting stories, let's join Olalekon Kilajolu.
Al Ahly of Egypt have emerged champions of the 2021 Confederation of African Football Champions League after beating South African side Kaizer Chiefs 3-0 in the final decided in Morocco Saturday. The Egyptian Giants, who also won the competition in 2020, has now become the first African team to lift the trophy 10 times following their successes in 1982, 1987, 2001, 2005 and 2006. They were also winners in 2008, 2012, 2013, 2020 and 2021. In basketball, Nigeria's senior men's basketball team, the Tigers, have been ranked 4th out of the 12 teams participating in the 2020 Tokyo Olympics behind Australia, Spain and USA, according to the latest FIBA Power Rankings. The rankings, which is based on recent performance of the teams, saw the Tigers placed 4th after their astonishing victory over world number 1 USA and 4th-ranked Argentina during their exhibition games in Las Vegas recently. Meanwhile, the Tigers and the Tigress quest for Olympics medal further got a boost as a corporate organization has extended support to the teams in the tune of $30,000 following the line of other corporate organizations who have earlier donated $200,000 to the teams. The gesture follows appeal by the Minister of Youth and Sports Development, Sunday Dare's call for individuals and corporate bodies to adopt athletes and teams. In volleyball, Kano Pillars and Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, currently tops the table in the men's and women's category of the first phase of the 2021 Nigerian Volleyball Premier League, which ended on Sunday. In the men's category, 2018 Super Cup silver medalist Kano Pillars occupies the first position with 24 points after 9 matches, while NSCDC in the women's category lead the log after garnering 18 points from the available 18. The second phase of the league is scheduled to hold in Abuja later in the year. With sports updates, Olalekon Kilajolu, NTA News.
in Sports Update ends Panorama this afternoon. Thank you so much for your time. Do remember to connect with us at the NTA, Stand Against Rape and Rapists. I will sincerely apologize we're not able to go back to our studio in Makurdi. Do bear with us. Good afternoon.